Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. We are back, and I have to say, if I don't know if y'all liked the first episode, which was just me talking about courage, but this month is on fire, and we are ending the month with more fire because Jessica Gillis and Oscar are here. Oh, and I forgot my housework. If you want to join my Patreon, it's tarot and psychic development, and I'm having a blast. That's Patreon.com/Rontowski, and I think that's all. Oh, and watch for comedy dates. I'm putting them up on Instagram and Facebook. And now, Jessica Gillis, how are you?
I am, oh man, I wanted to say I am good. I'm doing a lot better than I have been, but I'll tell you, like the last few weeks have been, I don't know a single person that it's been like a breeze.
Yes.
It's been pretty crazy. And I'm actually so curious because we haven't had a chance to catch up. So I'm so curious what your take is on all of the very, very paranormal things I've been experiencing.
Well, I'm going to start off. I don't know if I talked about this yet, but first of all, the paranormal is off the hook. It is, so I've been taking this medical mediumship class, and one of the things that she was talking about in this class, it's fascinating. It's Carolyn Miss, who is, I couldn't hear her for years because she's so abrupt and curt, and now I can hear her. So at this class, she's talking about how in the Egyptian times, they were more energetic. They were like energy before density. And then we became density before energy. And now we're flipping back. And does that make sense how I said that?
Oh, yeah. That makes perfect sense.
I'm sure she explained it better, but literally, like, I'm living in a place now that is not haunted. It was, and even a friend was like, this feels like a void. And I was like, yeah, I have to fill it with stuff. So I'm talking to this woman that had this strange experience, and I feel a ripple go up the back of my neck. And I said, oh, someone is here. And I don't usually do it, but came right up, ooh, somebody's here. And then the window next to me opened up all the way. Like it's a sliding up window that's not light. And it just opened up all the way. And then the thing was gone. So if I had it on camera, it would have been the greatest like paranormal evidence ever. But I was like, whoops, someone's here. Window, brrr, like it's old. It has to pull on strings and it goes up. So I feel like that energetic or everything being right here, that's exactly what's going on. Tell me about your adventures.
Oh my goodness, Karen. Okay. This is quite the story. So if we need to break it up into parts, just let me know because I don't want to like ramble at you or the audience too much.
Please do. It's your stories are always great.
Yeah. So I guess I'll preface it by saying I've had, and I should see if I can get you in contact with her because I think your guys' conversation would be absolutely amazing. But I've been working with a woman who I will refer to as a shaman for sure. So I moved to Kelowna, BC, and this woman is about an hour and a half from here out in the mountains in a place called Coston. And she's got a yurt, and the yurt was like, it's built by Nepalese people. The whole thing is so magical and beautiful.
What's a yurt?
A yurt, it's a structure. So usually you can see they're like round, like the ropes are made of horsehair. They're big. So you could fit like 20, 25 people could dance comfortably within this yurt is the only way I can describe. Okay. I was like, how do I describe this? I was like, oh, they could dance comfortably. Okay.
All right.
So it's pretty big structure, big fireplace in the middle, like cushions all around the outside. And we go there to do work. And the work that I signed up to do with her through a friend, her name is Mari, the woman who does the work. It's called Fire and Ice. And it's 6 weekends where we sit and work on reclaiming erotic energy. And the way that she kind of talks about how we're kind of being controlled by whatever your belief system shows you that we're being controlled by is right at the throat chakra. So the story we're telling ourselves and right at the gonads. our creative expression, our drive, our sexuality. So our truth and our sexuality are being controlled, therefore we're easily manipulated. So reclaiming that is, it's been really interesting. And I think anyone who's kind of heard an interview with me knows that I had sexual abuse trauma when I was really, really little. So to reclaim this, the way that I would describe what's happening to me energetically is like, I finally looked under the hood of the car that I hadn't been looking under, and a mechanic is now walking me through how strange it is that I have all of this energy and all of this power from the automobile being put into these mechanisms that don't help it run. They don't do anything to actually assist the car. They're just taking up energy. And that's all of these structures and scaffolding that I have in place, like I was week 3, I'm on week 5 is coming up. Week 3, I had like a week of hating men, hating them. But I had to go through that deep, deep scaffolding to let that go. So there's been an insane amount of reclamation happening. And I've just been like going through it in ways that I can't even describe. It's been amazing, but I decided that I would like some assistance partway through one of the break weeks. So I wanted to take a little bit of LSD, and the amount that I took was only 40 mics. So you can call that a little bit over a microdose. You wouldn't expect to have any visuals.
Okay.
So
and I don't want to interrupt your story. I just want to tell you, part of what I'm learning in this mediumship class is it's about you're finding where the energy is leaking. Exactly what you were talking about. And also, she talks about protection is not just protecting ourselves from others, but where are we going out to them? Where are we affecting them? It's really quite interesting. But go ahead. This is fascinating. Okay, LSD.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So partner's amazing. I was like, well, why don't you take some with me? And he's like, you know what I would like to do is I'd just like to be there for you. And I was like, oh, no.
That guy.
He's amazing. But I just doubted. And this is, again, the structures that I was working on taking down. I was just doubting so much that he could hold space for me. I'm so used to being the one labeled as space holder that I was really resistant to him doing that for me. And we did it. We went out to the woods. It was a great time. We get back. We're making dinner. I'm feeling kind of more grounded. And all of a sudden, I keep thinking, so I have to back up. The girl that introduced me to the woman that runs the yurt, a really good friend, she works with hape, the tobacco medicine from South America.
Okay.
And she gave me an experience with a particular hape where every other hape I had, Oscar would tell me that it was going to feel a lot like drowning and there'd be a lot of emotion coming up.
And hape is that where tobacco is used like an ayahuasca or something like that?
No, it's in a powdered form, and the practitioner uses I can't remember the name of it, a long pipe, and they blow it up your nose. One on the left side to indicate the death cycle, one on the right side to indicate the rebirth cycle. It's a very intuitive medicine. So the experience you have is so highly unique. Sometimes I've had big heartbreaks, sometimes I've had wild visions. Other times it's been just a really grounding, easy experience. So it's a pretty beautiful medicine. But she gave me this one, and Oscar told me that it was going to be not like drowning. It was going to be like being above the air. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but we did it. And all of a sudden the heart, or the earth was in my heart. I was way bigger than the earth. And I was asked to love everything on it. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Felt really good. I was like, yum, yum, this is nice. And then all of a sudden nuclear bombs started going off all over the planet. And I was like, and it was this devastating heartbreak and helplessness at watching what was happening. And then I felt Oscar tap me on the shoulder, and he's like, well, can you look around? And I looked around, and the earth it was gone. It was dust. And I looked around, and there were all these spaceships, just littered with spaceships. And he just goes, they're really not going to let that happen. There's nothing to worry about.
I agree.
Yeah. He was like, can you hold your head high and walk forward with this information? And I was like, okay. I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't, obviously. You never take these things in the first time. So that was maybe a few weeks before this experience on the LSD in the kitchen. And I apologize to everyone. I'm dragging you all through the timeline here. But we're in the kitchen making dinner, and I start thinking about thinking about dogs. And I'm like, okay, why am I incessantly thinking about dogs? So I just started to let it go. Usually when these things happen, I just have to follow them.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to get overwhelmed, and I was thinking about dogs and how we breed them, we own them, there's certain cultures that consume them, people abuse them, people love them, people rescue them, people like just all of these things that people do to dogs, manipulating their genetics, da 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 da. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it was getting like more and more overwhelming.
Speaking of which, your dog just weighed in.
Yeah. Pingus says, not me. Yeah. She's so funny. Yeah, it was amazing though, like what was happening physically. And all of a sudden I got like transported to a different place. I was standing in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I'm in this technological universe, and I wish I could explain how much it was. It was too much. And all of a sudden the spaceships that I had seen in the hot bay were in my brain, and all of these systems and conveyor belts were moving through my physical form. And Oscar was just coaching me through relaxing into the realization, like, you are the universe. You are all of this. All of it is in you. Like, and he was like, kind of like it felt like I was kind of being like forced into the recognition of like the actuality of as above, so below, like the visceral nature of what that actually means. And it was too much. And all of a sudden I felt a pop behind my left eyeball, like deep in my brain. And the amount of pain that started moving through my face was almost unbearable. I started screaming immediately, pain shooting down my left arm, down my left leg. I started to not be able to feel my right side of the body. My heart was beating really fast. I started yelling at Matt to call an ambulance because I was like, I was like, well, I'm having an aneurysm. That's what this is. This is the only explanation. That was too much. Now I'm dying. And he gets me over to the bed. Clearly I'm okay. He gets me over to the bed and sits me down, brings me water, and he's doing the thing he wanted to do. He's holding space beautifully. Like, I couldn't have been with a more relaxed person for what I was about to go through. And still freaking out, and I'm telling him he has to call an ambulance. And then a voice comes into my head and it says, you know what? Even if he did, it's already too late. You just need to relax now. And I was like, no, 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 no. So then I started apologizing for dying, as you do. And so I'm sorry. This is my bad. Really, really didn't want to die. Didn't realize how much I didn't want to die. And this is coming from someone who sits and allows Oscar to say that death is perfectly safe through her all day.
You know what? And we all know that, but the moment is different.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're on LSD and think you have an aneurysm in your kitchen.
Right.
So I'm on the bed, and I'm finally like giving in to the fact that this is going to happen. Like, it's becoming a truth for me. And immediately I am like sucked out my back body. And it feels like I'm going so fast, like warp speed out my back body. And all of a sudden I'm back on the bed, but my hair is long. I can feel my hair like down on my legs. And I'm kind of like bent over, and my body is tiny. Like, I am 3 years old, and I can hear my parents screaming. And it's this overwhelming feeling that something is wrong. And I think I got taken back to the very first moment I had the recognition that something in my reality was not safe and not okay.
Wow.
And so that was that day. And then, so if anyone has ever heard me talk about my dragon, her name is 3. So later on in the evening, when I was settled, Oscar goes, well, you met 3. What do you think? It's hard to face the dragon.
Wow. Okay. So I have a question real quick. So the dragon was protecting you?
The dragon was we're just going to find it from him right now. He's showing like it's the entity that was created to protect that part.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. He's laughing, and he's pointing literally right at 3. He's like, she doesn't have to go anywhere, but we needed to understand why it was there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so Then after that, Karen, after that, a little bit before that, I had done a blood offering during my cycle to the land I'm on at the kind of suggestion of the healer I'm working with, just to orient myself with the land.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? After that, now I see things running all over it, and they're friggin' terrifying. And I don't think they're terrifying. I think what they went through as a soul is terrifying. And they look like emancipated. They go on all fours. They look like emancipated human dog face. And they're very, very tall. They're very, very fast. And they like to knock things over when I'm in the barn.
Wait, so now you're seeing them all the time?
I've kind of started to tune them out a little bit because it was overwhelming. But right after that experience, I couldn't not see them.
Wow. Now, I have a question. Are they like, so they're a being that we don't recognize that was on this land or tortured on this land at some time?
So my idea that I feel around it, and I don't know like the absolute truth, so it's just wishy-washy. The land that I live on is one of the first colonized pieces of land in the area. And this is like a beautiful, rich, fertile valley where I'm assuming people lived and thrived prior to colonization. So I have a feeling it might be people that were here when that happened and what happened to them through the genocides or starvation.
But they look like people.
So their spines look like people, and every now and then when they like look at me, it looks like a really gaunt, very, very decayed human. But when they're running, they look like dogs. But very, very strange.
Do you know who the dog man is?
Mm-mm.
The dog man is a crypto creature it's actually attacks people, but it's like a dog that stands upright and runs. And that's just very interesting. And it's almost always in those cold northern Minnesota type places. I think there are other places, but this actually, you should read about the legend of the dog man because I think it's connected.
Yeah. It's I was like really freaked out. I reached out to Jessica Reed about it, and I was like, any word from your guides about what I'm seeing on the property? And she said that all they want is to be fed. So now when I walk on the property, I just let the earth come up through my feet into my solar plexus, let the sun come down through my head into my solar plexus and shine light out. And they seem to be pretty happy with that. They just eat it.
Okay.
But it doesn't feel like it's doing anything to me. It just feels like I get to be a conduit to like go, here you go. It's like I'm walking around with a bunch of bird seed.
Right.
And there's birds around. But It's not like I'm not buying the bird seed, apparently. I don't know. So before we kind of mosey on off of that topic, I then had a friend visit in a bit of a panic because she couldn't get on a flight because of COVID. And this is a friend that's got something kind of attached to her. And I was trying to help her figure out how to work with this thing because it seems to really come out to protect her when she's stressed, but it does it in ways that aren't necessarily nice. So I was trying to get her to work with it and channel how to get this doctor's note she needed. She called all of the medical places around. They wouldn't do a note because it's a liability. So I got her to sit and meditate on asking it to clear the way. And then like right away, Matt was down at the barn. A shelf that was supposed to be attached to the wall fell, landed on his foot. He had to go to the hospital. She got her note at the hospital.
Okay.
So it did it again. It still didn't take the path of least resistance. But 3 days later, me and Matt were in the woods, walking with the dogs, decided not to take our phones. I was doing another blood offering to this river. And I felt like I had to rush. I had an amethyst that was his end eyes. I had some rose hips. I had some motherwort. And I was doing it, and it felt right. Rush, but right. And then I look up after I'm on the bank out of the river, and Matt's walking across a log like a maniac, and like fun for him, scary for me. And I thought, that's dumb. And then right before I turned away, because I didn't want to watch him do the rest of the logs, it scared me. He fell and ended up falling 7 feet down into the creek bed and landing on a rock on his spine. And when I saw it, I thought he wasn't going to be walking again. Like I was like, he might have just become unable to use. Yeah, like for sure the way he landed. And so that turned into just an absolute horror show of trying to get the dogs, trying to talk to Matt, having to get the keys from him. He could barely communicate. I didn't know what was going on. So I'm running down the trail with these dogs. We didn't bring our phones. I'm screaming for help. And I run into people. The man takes off to go help Matt. The woman calls 911. I get to the parking lot to put the dogs in the car. And there is a group of people dressed as elves, fairies, and gnomes. So now all these elves, fairies, and gnomes are running up the path to go help Matt. And I was like, I was in so much stress, but I was like, what are the odds that a group of fairies, elves, and gnomes are running to help my partner after I did magic in the river? What is happening in my reality? So he ended up being extremely lucky, and he fractured his L1 transverse processor, so the small bone off the L1 vertebrae that carries the nerve. So had he been a few inches in another direction, he could have broke that vertebrae.
Now, before we go to the break, this is part of it's. Everything is so synchronicitous. Part of what I'm learning in this class, which is the more trauma we let go of, talking about 3, about your dragon, the more psychic we get.
Yeah.
We get weightlessness.
Yeah.
And also the LSD can do it, and it's not a way that I suggest if people are listening. Mushrooms and LSD can do it, but negative things can come through. Does your friend that kind of had that weird thing protecting her, has she done that kind of stuff at all? Any ayahuascas or mushrooms or anything like that?
Oh, yes. What I have heard, though, is that this being's been following the lineage.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I'm giving everything a break right now because I feel like it's kind of dangerous. I think the inner work I think you opened up the right doors, but I'm giving all of that a break right now. That's amazing. You know what else it fits with? Him falling is, okay, I just moved and I'm not even used to where I'm living. I haven't even been here a month and I was gone a lot of it. So it's almost like a different gravitational pull. I'm like clumsy. I'm bumping into things. And for him falling, I was just thinking it's like a different world right now. It's like there's something different right now that I used to be able to walk on a log and now I fall. That kind of thing, So that's pretty fascinating. Okay, hang on one second, folks. We'll be right back.
Greetings to all the listeners of Paranormal Karen. This is Ryan Singer, stand-up comedian, host of Me and Paranormal You, paranormal investigator with our friend Karen, and creator of Crystallize, the photo identification app for crystals. I'm so excited because the app is available for free download on iPhone or Android right now. You can look up info on your favorite crystals in our 300-plus crystal guide. You can start your personal collection, keep track of your favorite crystals. You can look up info on ethical sourcing. You can go to our directory and find crystal shops near you and get directions to those shops. Oh boy, all this is free. We also have a premium section. So if you are a premium subscriber, you get unlimited photo identifications and an unlimited personal collection size. Coming soon, we're connecting you with ethically sourced vendors so you can feel good about feeling good. Download Crystallize today.
Yeah, I'm just going to let you continue because I can't never stop talking to you. So I go, we'll be right back. And then we start talking. And then I'm like, wait, I got to turn on the recorder. This is what we got to talk about. And it's exactly, I think you and I, the topic that we're about to hit, I think you and I decided 2 months ago, we got to talk about this. And now all this has happened, and I got to tell you what's happening in my readings. Okay, so continue with what you were telling me. Okay,
so I think we had talked Matt had fallen. He was okay. And then I was mentioning that I found it really interesting where he hurt himself because I had an injury from a really bad relationship where he had really significantly hurt my foot. And in the yurt doing some of that reclamation work, this spot came up in my foot. And as we were working through it, I started to get all of this pain in the lower left sacral. And it literally looked like orange and yellow shrapnel And it was really, really painful and had to come out. And the woman that runs the yurt was kind of explaining that these spaces are really connected, like the left sacral and the right foot, like in where the injury on the foot was.
Okay.
And Matt hurt his right foot and then landed on his left sacral. But what I find really interesting is the sentence, the universe comes to you as a feather, then it comes to you as a hammer, and then it comes to you as a train. And you should listen to it while it's a feather or a hammer, because the train really hurts. And
by that, you mean the message. Like, you get the first message like, hey, you should do that. And the second message is, you got to do that. And then the third message is, all right, you're doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're doing it, or you're maybe even like, I think if you don't really listen and like take heed when the train hits, you might lose the opportunity. Seems to be what could happen. But with that sacral space, one of the things that him and I did when we like first met, I did some energy work on him just for like fun to show him what I do, and he found the Eye of Horus in that place in the lower sacral, and I was like, do you want to work with it? And he was like, no. He was like, he didn't want to. So I think that was the feather.
Oh, okay. And hang on. So the Eye of Horus in his sacral. Okay, go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that was in there, and he didn't want to work on it or look at it, and you got to respect that when someone doesn't want to go into that.
Right.
But now looking at how the injuries have shown up, that would have been the feather. And then I'm sure the hammer came a few times. I don't think you only get one hammer. And then the train was landing on his back in the creek. But yeah, it's been really fascinating.
And that message was, what do you think that message was?
Dealing with emotions and kind of the feminine energy.
Okay, which is exactly where we're going. Yeah.
Yes, it is exactly where we're going. So how do you want to enter into that? Do you want me to kind of like talk about it? Do you want to talk about what's been going on with your clients?
Well, I'll do my clients real quick because this actually came about when you were doing a session on me. I think midway through the summer last year, and it just kind of happened. It was a while ago, I know that. And then I have been getting clients that have been getting like 4 queens in a row or 2 pages and 2 kings, but it is like there or particular ones, cards that are all, I go, oh, the masculine side is taken over. Like, I never used to read like that, and I can see the feminine side taking over or the masculine side taking over. And I think you and I did an exercise where you have to have them stand equal or talk or dance. But I was amazed at that. Doesn't even come into my readings, and it must be something right now because it's coming through like in spades, and the people are like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. So, and then you texted me that you and Oscar were finding something with this. Is that how it started on your part?
Yeah, and that's awesome that we did that. I couldn't remember. I was like, I need to do this with Karen. So we did do that. That's good to know. Yeah, it's been coming through what I would call rapidly, and Oscar has been showing recently that the way we can look at this, and he's saying right now, hello, friend. He's
Oscar.
saying, hi, Oscar. So he's really wanting everyone to make sure they fully understand that what we're about to explain is an elementary version of it. So if we were to look at the water cycle in elementary school, the way we're taught it, we're seeing like bare minimum information he's showing. Like it's basically an analogy, not how things actually work. He's asking, okay, good. That's what he wanted to hear.
Okay.
Got it. So he wants everyone to imagine like a stick figure with 2 different frequencies running, one on the left all the way down, one on the right all the way down. So he's wanting everyone to think about that as your masculine and feminine. And he's showing if they are not in harmony, you're going to be very polarized internally. You're going to be he's showing like divergent. You're not really going to even really be able to understand yourself. And he's showing, thank you, Oscar. So he said, let's use the example of codependency. So he's wanting everyone to kind of see another stick figure walking up, and its frequencies mirror enough to feel like the masculine is harmonizing with the other person's feminine. He's saying just enough that they'll match up a little bit, and that the other person's feminine is harmonizing with the other guy's masculine. And he's saying here we find codependency, and he's showing all the places where they don't jive is where he's showing the abuse and the trauma is going to show up.
Okay, I'm gonna let's roll that one more time. Okay, so they mirror, and if let's say my masculine side is too big, it hit the partner's feminine side.
So yeah, he's saying not necessarily too big, but he is showing that you can find, like, if one partner's really, really quiet and meek and the other one's quite loud, he's showing one person has the permission within themselves to have a higher volume. The other person, he's showing, could have been stunted or chooses to stay quieter.
Okay, and this is where you would get like a male that chooses bossy women all the time. I had a client that was choosing kind of bossy women all the time, and I felt like his masculine side had been diminished.
Yeah, so his feminine's probably pretty bossy is what Oscar's showing. He's probably seeing either something that and this is interesting, he's saying, like, these things can vary so much. There's not really a rule you can make for how someone's chemistries. Yeah, he's showing like a chemical reaction. Okay. People are completely different, and when two people come together, the way their frequencies interact, and he's walking right back into remembering that this diagram is extremely simplified. Okay. So one of the things that he was showing is, like, we might see a celebrity and we really like what we see in them. He uses Ryan Reynolds. When we look at this, people really like that attitude. They really like it. They think it's really fun, but what they're seeing is something that they also have within them. But he turns the volume up. Okay, so he turns their volume up to be funny like that. He turned his volume up, and now other people want, but so one thing he's been saying is people don't like the sound of their own voice. Yes. So yes. People, yeah. And he's saying, think about that. You don't like the sound of your own voice. You don't like the harmony, the music that you're creating from within. So if you don't like it, how is it ever going to shift if it's not? Yeah. Okay. And this is a perfect, I love the example he gave. So that's very interesting, because there is only, I don't really watch that much stuff, amount of time, but there is one celebrity that that this guy that I love that is very unattractive. And I kept thinking it's because, he's not really a comedian, but he's very successful at producing shows and stuff like that. And I kept thinking he's where you want to be. That's why you find this strange man attractive. Does that make sense? He said exactly. Okay. So I'm just going to I'm going to get out of the way, because he keeps showing that I'm like dropping stones in his path that he's trying to communicate. So okay, I'm just going to get out of the way and let him talk right through me. So I will let you know if it's me versus him. I'm really quite bad at I call myself a reluctant channel. So I get in the way a lot. And folks, just so you know, if her phone breaks up a little bit, that's not, I have ghosts in my machine, but that's literally your energy and him coming through, correct? Okay. Yeah. He's literally showing that he's calling it a chalky heart chakra right now. I've got a chalky heart chakra. I don't know what that means. Yeah. That could be me. Oh, apparently it's me. Okay. He's asking he's literally just kind of showing, do you want to demonstrate what the masculine feminine looks like? Sure. As long as he guides me. Absolutely. I can tell you what I see them as, since our thing, since we did it a while ago. Okay. He's asking if he can have the reins. Sure. Okay, cool. Well, he's making me draw smiley faces on the stick figures I put on the paper. I get it. He's like, can you smile? Can you lighten up? I've got a chalky heart, apparently. So, all right. It's funny. I'm like trying to do it as though we're in a session, and he's like, can you take your hand off the wheel? Can you let go? All right, here we go. So, well, my energy is pretty heavy too, so that could be coming from me. So go ahead. Yeah. So the first thing, and if people want to kind of follow along with this, you can, and it's going to be a lot easier than you might imagine, is what he's showing. So he said, let it be easier than you imagine. So just everyone, if Karen, if you can put your feet on the ground, if that feels right to you, and just start letting yourself find your breath here, just taking nice inhales, nice long exhales. And if we can let the exhale be a little bit longer than the inhale comfortably, we're going to tell the body that it's safe to relax. And he's showing right now for you, if any emotion comes up, he's asking you to please not hold that back.
Okay.
And just letting yourself breathe here. And for the people listening, if you want to just start running some energy, seeing the sky above you open up and just pour some soft gold light down into the head. It can move into the marrow of the skull, maybe noticing it coming into where those fresh blood cells are being made deep in the marrow, feeling it washing and melting over the face and down the base of the neck, inviting it with a breath into the matter of the brain, and just starting to feel it flood over the front and the back of the body, coming down the front of the arms and the back of the arms, down the back body and over the front of the torso. And just noticing it melting into the skin, the ribs, dropping down now into the center line and feeling it start to flood down through the spinal cord. And he's showing for particular people listening, if it feels better to let this be water to help the body feel heavier. Imagine water flowing in. He's really showing for anyone feeling very ungrounded, let it be water. And letting yourself feel that flooding down through the organs, into the tissue of the lungs, the heart, down into the liver and the spleen, the pancreas. And taking a nice big inhale, and on the next long, relaxed exhale, filling the pelvic bowl. Letting it move through the glutes, the hamstrings, down into the femur bones, really letting yourself be in the legs. And starting to really gently let your energy field move out around you. It's safe to take up space. It's safe to be safe. It's safe to be in the body. Noticing even the calf muscles opening up as that energy runs through the tibia and the fibula into the feet. And trusting that you are naturally tethered to the earth. Your body is the earth. You return to her when you leave this plane. You return to her when you leave this plane. You are already connected. So just letting your nervous system run right down into the earth, all the way to the core. And he's saying you can consider the core he's saying heart brain of the earth. Consider the core of the earth the heart brain, and just let your nervous system connect to hers. And, he's just asking how you're doing, Karen, how you're feeling.
Good.
Okay.
I can feel the tight spots loosening up.
Good. Yeah. He showed you shaking. He said if you need to shake, do a shake.
I just was doing that as I was talking to you.
Good. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to, as we relax into this connection with the earth, Oscar's saying for someone listening, they need to smile. He said, this is fun. Smile. This is fun. Okay, so breathing and just letting yourselves now come into our internal world. And for anyone who hasn't done this before, just let yourself kind of release any tension around your eyes, release any tension in your hands and your feet. Start to let your awareness drop into your heart space. And we're just going to notice if we can find ourselves in our internal imaginal space, sitting in a really comfy chair in the middle of a really comfy room, whatever that means for you. Usually I go to a cabin on a lake. Some people go to a tropical beach destination. You can have a plain white room if you want. It doesn't matter, wherever you feel comfortable. And now sitting in that chair in the middle of the room, we're just going to see a chair out to the left on an angle and a chair out to the right on an angle. And he's laughing. He said, you can make them comfy. They don't have to be wooden chairs. So, and Karen, just letting me know when you find yourself in that space, when you feel kind of grounded into there.
Okay. I think I got it.
Good. And now We've done this before, haven't we?
Some of it, but I feel like because you and I have worked together, the connection is fast and easy.
Yeah. So letting ourselves breathe here. And I want you to just invite the feminine in through that door in the back and notice her coming in and sitting in that chair to the left. And we're just going to notice what she looks like, what her demeanor is like, how she presents herself. Sometimes people have entities, sometimes energy forms or symbols. Whatever happens is perfectly okay. And if you feel like sharing, Karen, who showed up?
Okay. I actually, the image of the woman that showed up is someone that comes to talk to me sometimes when I meditate, that I kind of considered my higher self, but she's almost Roman type dress and very black hair, curly black hair, almost Roman white toga type with a lot of gold around it.
So he's showing like 2 thumbs up for recognizing the higher self in this being. This is a very, he's showing your feminine's feeling quite free, and what he's saying soft right now.
Yeah.
So when he's saying let her pull her chair up towards you.
Okay.
And for anyone else, if you're trying to follow along here and it feels like you want to go towards your feminine, he's showing if your feminine's really not wanting to talk to you right now, just let yourself have the experience of following what we're doing. So he's showing to let her come up to you. And it's interesting. He's actually wanting you to let her ask you how you've been doing.
Okay.
And he said he wants you to just notice how your heart feels here.
It feels heavy.
Yeah. How's she doing?
She is doing, that's interesting. She shows me a hole where her heart is supposed to be. And it's about kindness.
Yeah. It's interesting. Oscar was saying we have to love our own kind. People are really getting good at hating people. We have to love our own kind. He said kind. We have to love our own kind. So I want you to just ask her if there's anything that you can do to help her with this hole. Yeah.
There's definitely the message of slow down. But she's saying there is an abuse going on that I am not recognizing because it's been consistent forever. And I need to see it now. And this is why I feel disconnected from people. And I need to see it and change it now. As she said, or the train's coming.
Yeah, the train's coming. I want you to just ask her if this has something to do with the masculine energy or no.
She says it has to do with her.
Has to do with her. Okay. Oscar's asking you to just give her some time to maybe demonstrate how this can be remedied, is the word he's using. Healed, remedied.
I think that she's saying it's kind of a the easiest way to say it is to hear. I kind of want to say to hear it or to hear her, which is it's almost like examining all my inner thoughts and how many times I might say that's so stupid or you were stupid or now look at what you've done or the tone of voice in those thoughts.
What was the surgery your mom had?
She had a prolapse. So, yeah, kind of like her butt fell out.
The root.
Yeah.
The root.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting because he's showing like the frequency through the left side kind of being obstructed from actually going through the heart, the not hearing your heartbeat. And he's been showing the blood as water mixed with earth. So flowing water from the sacral mixed with earth from the root chakra, so the red river, and it flows and is beat through the heart. He's asking to just notice if she's saying anything as these words come forward, if she's acknowledging what he's saying.
I think she's acknowledging, but she's not saying, as in she's waiting for me to get it.
All I heard Oscar go, sometimes it feels so unhelpful. He goes, and?
She said, I have to get it. She's not helping. And I have to be honest, right now she's like not being nice. Like I'm getting a dirty look.
Sometimes that happens. So what happens if we invite the masculine energy into the room and get him to sit in the chair to the right?
He's very ready.
Yeah. So Oscar's showing that the creative energy is asking for a hole to be filled. So what he's showing is require structure to be able to do that.
Okay. And my masculine energy, which looks like my top guide, and the contract I have with him is he looks like the Emperor card.
This is interesting. Oscar's saying to walk over and just show him the space in the heart and notice what he says about this.
He says to start with the grid. I'm not sure does that mean anything to Oscar? Does Oscar?
Oscar's laughing. He says you do know. Thanks, Oscar. So, he's showing, it's funny, he got me to listen to the episode with Amy that you just did not that long ago, right before getting on here. He's nodding in Amy's direction. He's showing, you start with the grid.
Okay.
She's very, very good with the grid. So what he's showing is something you can do here. And this is what he's always gotten me to do anytime I'm working with my grid and it needs healing, is make it turquoise. Turquoise is the color of pure love.
Okay.
Pure love, pure joy, pure freedom. Turquoise, turquoise, turquoise is what he's saying right now. So he's asking you to just even notice what happens. This is interesting. He's asking you to go hold the feminine's hand, and he's on the left, and he's wanting you to just allow the turquoise grid. And he says, this is a gentle will. You don't have to do anything. He's showing there's no straining here. Just allow that turquoise grid to come up through your body and her body. And he's really showing through the heart space and through the root.
Okay.
It is really interesting. I can feel it almost feels like protecting an injury.
Yeah. She got softer. She's less angry.
Good. Now I want you to just ask her what she needs from you. What she needs from you in this moment.
She needs to let her mother me.
Yeah.
Because of so many things I have to do alone. And she's giving the example of nobody came with me when I had to put courage down.
And what did she want to do for you in that moment?
She didn't want me to be alone.
Yeah.
And she says that's how everything is right now.
And how can you allow yourself? I want you to just notice how you can allow yourself to feel. And he's saying the divine presence of mother within yourself in those moments where he's showing energetically we kind of shut down and put the wall up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So he's showing, and he wants you to keep holding her hand in this moment. He's wanting you to ask her how you can allow her to mother you when we are feeling separate. And he's wanting you to recognize that there is no plausible way to ever be alone in this universe because we are one. But he's showing we've created two to experience love. We've created the masculine and the feminine within ourselves to experience love.
Okay.
So it's interesting. He's saying if you stand at your spine, you are one. if you allow yourself to relax, you will become two.
Okay. She's showing me an image. I have an image. Which is just her putting her hand or her arm around me, like it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. He's asking how that feels.
It feels a little uncomfortable because it's new, and it requires a certain level of weakness in a good way. But yeah, it's what I don't have anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to get used to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting. He's saying, so Karen, when I was asking you, I think before we started recording, about the date that Courage had to head out, had to leave, I had a really weird moment within my dream space, just waking up, where I heard, and it wasn't a visual or anything, I just heard that Karen accepted Courage, so Courage is ready to go. So the idea that you're accepting some aspect of this courageous step forward, this courageous walking. Yeah, he's showing the fact that you did the move. You came in to support a family where you've received a lot of pain is so courageous. And he was staying with you until the moment you were ready to really pull in the lesson he came to give you. So he's showing that not only is it an act of vulnerability to allow your feminine to mother you, to allow yourself to nurture yourself, but it is an act of what he's calling courage. To be gentle enough to, he's saying, let her touch you. Let yourself be safe in your own body. Let your emotions be safe. He's showing really to let the sense of safety in your root chakra. And he's saying he's showing your mom went through this thing, this experience. And he's saying, you felt it. He's just repeating, you felt it. Yeah. So the root chakra was being a bit repaired there. He's showing energetically it needs a little bit more safety. He's showing there's a tendency to kind of like tighten up in the legs to kind of close off the root. So he's showing if we can breathe and let that root connect to the earth. It's interesting. He's showing if you're really connected to the earth and you're talking to the earth, it's a lot easier to feel this love all around you. It's a bit different for you to really let it inside.
Yeah. I just want to say, I think that she's, the other connection there is that whenever Courage was sick, Sonia always said the first thing he showed was how gently I hold him.
Yes. So he was showing you how to nurture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oscar's got the biggest grin and his eyes are like popping out with hearts in them. And by the way, I'm sure you've heard this and I'm sure you've talked with him a little bit, but all I know about Courage right now is he's finding it a lot easiher to move around. I'm hearing that he can go a lot faster now.
Yeah, he was done. He was quite, he was having an awful lot of trouble when, right that last, few months. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I just heard he feels like a puppy again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm feeling like a lot of joy. A lot of joy for, I think he's very close.
Yeah, he's definitely popping in and out. He disappeared for a little bit where Sonia said he was healing, but when he first passed, he was right there all the time. Like I could hear him literally every sentence. Yeah.
And Oscar's showing that this has been something you guys have been doing for lifetimes. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And he's showing that it was a really beautiful and like creative way to move through this incarnation, to have him show up named Courage while you found your footing. It's interesting. He's almost showing that like he was basically taking a bit of a break this lifetime by coming in as your companion instead of your partner, your teammate, He
made me take care of him and pay all the bills.
Yes, exactly. He didn't have to talk to anyone.
Right.
I want you to just turn towards the masculine. I want you to ask him if he has any messages for you around Oscar showing like relaxing into the bath of your own love. How can he help with the structure? What can be changed here?
He says, I don't understand his capacity for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
So
don't have
Oscar-
a loving image, a man of a loving image.
Mm-hmm. Oscar said, just ask them to demonstrate that for you right now. Let them show you the ways in which they love each other. And he's wanting you to remember that these two entities, these energies, exist far outside of your human experience. He's showing they're the reasons the universe exists. This duality between structure and creativity, between consciousness and matter.
Kind of just the way they hold each other.
Yeah. So as they're holding each other, Oscar's really wanting you to recognize that this is happening inside your body right now.
Okay.
He's laughing. He's saying, you're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. Just breathe. Let your energy roll out around you. And he's showing that turquoise grid moving from the right side, coming into the heart, coming into the organ of the heart, filling that space. Okay. He's showing the left shoulder might get a little crampy. The left arm might feel a little weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He said he's laughing. He goes, just shake it out, Karen. Shake it out if you need to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And he's reiterating. It's weird. It looks like he's reading from like a script or like a declaration, like a rolled up scroll. He's like reading that this is your birthright over and over again. Okay. To be whole and unified in yourself, to have your masculine and your feminine, have a loving, strong, he said, full of hope, full of joy connection is your birthright. He's laughing. He said, no story can stop this. No story can stop truth. And what's interesting is he's been saying there's a war between truth and love. And what we need to do is we need to recognize that anything that tells us that love is not the truth, he said, is a lie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like puppy love is not appropriate.
Mm-hmm. He said puppy love is beautiful.
Right.
And then he just showed me courage.
Well, I was thinking, yes, and people say puppy love is not real.
Mm-hmm. He said if it's love, it's real. Mm-hmm. And he's showing love has so many ways of expressing itself. He's showing a bird cleaning another bird's feathers. He said love. It's interesting. He just showed a lion eating a gazelle. He said love.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. He's showing it is your perspective. When you are in a perspective of love being the truth, then all things are accepted. We don't hold on when we know we're in love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's showing, like, it almost feels like something's like sitting on the left shoulder a little bit.
It could, you mean like a person in the 3D? I mean like a spirit in the, sort of in the 3D, 5D, or in my image?
It looks like a really, 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 really old vulture. And it looks, I'm like seeing it in like the 3D on your shoulder.
Oh, okay. So
on the left shoulder.
So it's a little outside of this, or of what we're talking about, or it's within this story?
Okay. He said both. They're not separate. It's interesting. He's showing this old vulture. Okay, very interesting. I don't know how much you want this in the podcast. This has gone a direction, but
okay. Well, we'll leave it in.
Yeah. Okay, so he's showing the vulture on the shoulder, and he's showing that it's like really, really hungry. And then I thought maybe it was a bad thing, and now he's saying no. It's here to just take what's dead.
That makes sense.
It's here to take what's gone. He's showing it might be a little uncomfortable. He's asking you to tune into it and notice how hungry it is, and that vultures do a beautiful thing. Service.
My left shoulder is starting to shake now, but it goes with this entire 180 change in my life, which is letting go of what is dead, what is different now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To not look at that, not look at like how great my life was in LA and then how different it is now, like just to let that go.
Mm-hmm. So when you were talking earlier about kind of coming here and feeling like you don't really like belong and like people aren't nice, he was showing that this is kind of a bit of a projection. Not that the people you're running into aren't, he said, kind of miserable, but the frequency you're at from leaving home and from coming and doing the work that you're doing right now, he's showing is almost attracting that. So
Okay.
he's saying to, and it's interesting, he's showing because there's grief, he's literally showing this vulture might hang out and just help you clean stuff up for a bit.
Okay.
But because there's grief, he's showing that you don't need to be in a rush to get back to homeostasis or feeling really good. He's showing it's actually going to be a little bit easier if you don't try to push this river.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. He is showing like do the things that feel really good, like a warm bath or a hot yoga class, or he's showing like a biscuit with jam on it, like letting yourself have the things that are really yummy. And he's showing, that's interesting. Okay. So he's showing if you allowed your divine mother inside of you, how would she take care of the little girl inside that lost her best friend? And he's saying you don't have to have an answer to this, but to allow yourself to have that softness that you offered courage given to yourself.
Okay.
And then he said, through courage.
Okay.
He's asking the words, what an interesting fellow. He goes, does this compute?
Yes. You mean the vulture and everything? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Good. Okay. It's so funny when I work with people of what I'll call like your level of openness. It's so like comes at me so quick. I'm like, does any of this make sense? Okay, it does. All right, cool.
Well, the vulture makes perfect sense because of the just of change, of what is falling off because of change.
It's interesting. He's showing you, he said in time, you're going to find a very interesting community where you're at. And it's funny, he's showing like someone walking in the woods and flipping a rock over and seeing like an entire Fae culture and like dance festival, but they didn't know, like they were walking around thinking this place was drab and nothing was here, and there's this deep well of life happening.
Yeah.
That you just haven't noticed yet.
Yeah, I've been trying to get everything else in order. And I'm sure in the summer, you live in Canada. I'm not used to just being locked in the house because it's cold all the time. So it will. Yeah, I believe that. I actually really, really like the visual of the vulture. Because I do also believe that there's, this is 2022, is identity crisis. So to try and let go of what it looked like then or what I want it to look like, those are the things that need to die. Yeah.
He said they get to die.
Because those are those are the things that are leading to disappointment.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. He's showing not only that, so he's wanting you to think of it as cleaning out a garden. So he's showing a plant that had died over the winter, and now it's really making it quite difficult for the new plant to grow up out of it.
Yeah.
And he's showing it will grow up out of it, but it would be really helpful if we would take all that dead leaf litter off and put it in the compost pile.
Yeah. Which, and my feminine side, thank you, said, that's not that easy. We're doing it, but it takes time.
Exactly. And that's what he's showing is,
it's that
take the time.
Yeah. She was almost showing creative projects as a child, like art projects as a child to do. But she was also saying, we're not in a get over it stage.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He's showing it's an integrated.
Integration
is a lifelong process. Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of get over it coming from outside me. Like if I just say, yeah, it's just a hard day. There's a lot of, what do you, because people are used to very happy Karen. So they're not, it's almost like the Karen a little sad is not being accepted.
Yeah. Well, I heard Oscar go, well, Karen doesn't have to perform all the time.
Right. And I don't have to be what anyone else wants to perceive I am either. Yeah.
So I want you to just ask the masculine energy if he's willing to let go of the part that it's interesting. Ask him how he deals with that pushback on you grieving.
Defensive. Before you even ask the question, he puffed up in protective mode.
And now I want you to just let the feminine go speak to him and let her explain to him what would be he's showing a gentler way.
She said, I'm not Jada Smith. Like, I don't need you to do that.
That's this comedian coming through. Yes. I'm not Jada Smith. She's not offended by other people not understanding because she knows who she is. She knows what she's going through.
Right. He is, she is not.
Yeah. It's interesting. Oscar keeps showing like there's something the masculine has to put down.
Okay.
I keep seeing Oscar be like, show it to us, like a dog that has something in its mouth that it shouldn't have. Like, drop it.
It's actually a double. So for people that listen to the episode about courage, there was a sword involved, and the masculine is saying he has to drop a different sword. There's a this isn't the place for that. This isn't the place for that. Did that make sense?
Yeah. This isn't the place for that type of sword.
Yes.
Good. So this is really, really sweet. Oscar just said, what if he could transmute that into a shield?
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay.
He doesn't have to attack and defend. He can just put a wall up for people that are incapable. He's shown that these people are just incapable of meeting you where you're at and holding compassion for you.
Okay. I like that image a lot.
So he's showing let the masculine, instead of trying to fight them off, just put the shield up so that the feminine can keep moving through her process.
Okay. That resonates good. Really, but well.
Yeah. It's interesting. He's saying that not only should we not try to rush this, we can't rush this. This can't be rushed. But he's showing your masculine's been really good at like, okay, we got to go, we got to work, we got to survive, we got to make it, we got to do it, we got to go. So when anything tries to disrupt, he goes where you're at or what you're trying to do. There's a want to defend and protect. Okay. When he's showing, if we just let the outside world's going to do what it's doing, if we let ourselves, he's showing if you want, it doesn't even have to be a shield. It can be a really soft cocoon that just deflects.
Okay.
All of that energy of what people are telling you should be.
Okay, great.
He goes, because Karen, you're changing, and he's showing you have called courage inside of you, and it's going to take a little bit to get used to what that means.
Yeah. Yeah. That all makes perfect sense.
Yeah. That's so sweet. I'm just seeing like, I just keep getting visuals of courage, like looking younger and younger and younger.
Yeah. There's a funny image there, which is, another dog broke his back very early on. And I forget that his tail was always down because of his back. He couldn't lift up his tail. And the first thing I noticed when I saw him on the other side was the tail was up.
Yeah. Okay. So his tail, where did the back break happen?
Sort of in the middle to the back.
Middle to the back.
So a bigger dog jumped on him sideways because the guy didn't have his dog on a leash, and the back went sideways. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And it was terrible.
Yeah. Was it to the left or the right that it broke?
The dog jumped on the left side.
So that feminine energy. Yeah. So he's showing like you guys were really like doing an interesting parallel to each other.
Yeah.
So his solar plexus, right? Okay. Oscar's asking if you can just the word he uses refer to the masculine and the feminine right now, and just notice how they're doing with each other.
Okay. They look like they're in alignment.
Good. This is really weird. He's asking you to let them switch chairs for a moment and see how that feels in the body.
Okay. That's interesting because that's where they started. Okay. Nervous.
Yeah, right through the kind of like throat heart space. Good. He said this is going to be a really fun practice for you. Is just let them switch every now and then. It's almost like really letting the feminine come into the right side of the body will help her learn to lead a bit more.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. He's showing like if someone, the feeling in my eyeballs is really intense right now. So he's showing if someone were to push back on how you were doing, you wouldn't even need to open your mouth as much as the energy coming right from your eyes will tell them, he's like, to turn around and walk away.
Oh, like giving a dirty look?
Mm-hmm. He's showing not even a dirty look, just the energy that will be coming off of you.
Okay.
He's showing it's not a physical expression, it's a feeling they're going to get.
Okay. Good.
It's almost as though they won't even approach you with that shit, is what he said.
Good. Good.
How are you feeling in general right now with that movement?
Good. Actually, I feel really good. I do feel like it's still being integrated and processed in the energy of my body, but I do like the visuals, and I do actually love, I think I might keep the vulture with me.
So what he's wanting you to recognize is that it is really, really hungry. Like it looks a little bit emancipated and like some feathers are falling out. So what he's showing here is to recognize, so everything that the body has to process. So say it's fear. He's showing even fear you had when you were having to take courage into the vet, experience in the sacral around moving, around courage passing, fear around leaving LA, your home. He's showing stories in the throat chakra, stuff in the solar plexus. Every time that we kind of move through an experience in any of those centers, it's naturally going to come to the heart. And when it gets to the heart, it seems like people have a really hard time letting it go when it's in the heart, and then we get anxiety. So what he's wanting you to recognize, and he keeps showing it, it's really graphic. He's showing like chunks of meat in your hands.
Okay.
And this bird is like, can I have that? Can I take that for you? It's rotting. So he's wanting you to recognize that as these things move out of you into your hands, he's showing hands getting sore, hands feeling like really dense energy. He's showing let yourself just even have a space in the house where you energetically wash your hands and put this stuff down and let the bird have it.
Okay. All right.
He's asking if that makes sense.
It does.
And he's showing it's, slowly going to be coming out.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay.
It's weird. He's showing that as this bird is fed, it's going to he said it's going to phoenix itself.
I was going to say it actually will learn to take what I don't need without permission.
Yeah, well, he's saying it's not even without permission. It's that you won't be carrying. You're going to put it down. It's going to just be naturally doing what it does. But he is showing as it takes in all of this stuff for you, it's going to what he's calling phoenix. And he's showing the root chakra and the solar plexus getting stronger than they've ever been.
Good. Awesome.
Getting stronger than they've ever been. He's showing your root like opening up like a big oak tree, like it's instead of legs, it's turning into like a big strong oak tree.
Good.
Yeah. So there's one more thing I wanted to talk about a little bit. He was showing, and it's also an experience I've been having, of a term called arcing. Have you heard of that?
It sounds familiar, but I can't place it at the moment.
So a big extreme example of arcing would be what happened to me with that LSD, where I went back to H3. That's like a very extreme arcing. But even in social situations where we feel unsafe, we may unconsciously be arcing back to a really early age where that feeling began. So just like you do in paranormal experiences of saying, like for me, it would be, I am Jessica Gillis. I am 32 years old. It is April 2nd, 2022. Like really grounding yourself in the exact moment that you're in when you feel like you're arcing.
Okay.
He's even showing if people are pushing back on how you're doing, let yourself declare your name, what date it is. And he said, just remember what you're going through. You've had a big move. Your best friend just became disembodied, and it's okay to be exactly where I am.
Got it. Okay.
It's okay to be exactly where I am. So he's showing we might arc back to a time where we felt like we needed to have it all together, or we felt like we needed to defend ourselves. And he's showing if you really let yourself consider, and he's showing the oak tree again. Your center is right along, like the part of the tree that's living and growing is right in the center ring. that first ring, and then all of the other rings kind of consecutively move outward. So if we are arcing to the third ring to the outside, then we're so close to the bark, we really feel like we need to protect ourselves. But if you allow yourself to recognize all of the experiences you've had, how much wood is protecting your core, he's showing you're going to feel a lot more secure if you stay in your center and recognize all the rings around you of the years of solar experiences that you've had going around this, he said, big ball of fire.
Excellent. Okay. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's laughing. He said, there's a reason that the solar plexus is our center and we go around the sun.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He said, that's our source of power. That's our gravitational pull. If he's showing, if you're up in the heart and you're up in the throat, as in if you are being the earth, you're going to feel like you're being whipped around all the time.
Yeah.
He's spinning in circles and he's crying and he's saying, what is the truth? Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you have any questions for him?
No, I think that was fantastic. And I think, tell everyone, because this is what a session with you would be like.
Sometimes. So, this is something we've been doing over the last year, and it really seems to come up with people that I've been working with for a bit. There's been the offhanded one where someone just comes in, this is all they need. And I usually know that before the session starts, but I do a lot of somatic work. So it takes me a little bit to get comfortable enough with a client to do something like what we did today.
Okay.
But, yeah, I do a lot of somatic work. So it's basically coming in and reclaiming your energy form, your energy body, letting go of stories that are keeping you from being your authentic self and that are keeping you small and with your volume turned down. Yeah.
Got it.
So, yeah, there's so many ways that work seems to be showing up lately for me. But yeah, the balancing of the masculine and the feminine is something that we're offering now. And it is such a fun ride. A little bit different when we walk into it in comparison to what you heard Karen and I do today, because she's already done it once. So those things kind of were online. The building of that experience can be about 90 minutes from beginning to end. So yeah, if anyone has questions about it, they can reach out to me at Zen Lasagna on Instagram. I have a link in my bio for a 15-minute consult, and we can kind of talk about what's coming up, what you want to work through. I encourage everyone who wants to do a consult to do it. You don't have to commit just because we do a consult. That's exactly why there are consults.
You will, though. I don't know. Yeah. I can't imagine anyone doesn't after the consult. That would surprise me.
Some people don't. And I think working with someone and letting someone in your energy field is such an immensely unique, what's the word? It's so important to make sure you're really feeling in alignment with who you're working with. Like if sometimes you go to therapists and they might be recommended from a friend and they help that person so much, but then you go to that therapist and you just don't jive. So sometimes in the consults, and sometimes I have to say no if I don't jive, just out of integrity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I get it. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I'm a little drifty, but thank you so much, Jessica. That feels like a lot got cleared out. And it's so interesting because one of the classes I'm taking isn't directly aligned with this, but it feels like everything in this vein is happening correct and correctly on time. I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah. So Oscar's laughing and he says, you've always been on time. And he's showing like under your feet is time.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God. Thank you so much, dear. I have been waiting for this podcast. I didn't know it was going to turn into this, but even better. Yeah. That was really great. And folks, I cannot encourage enough. I have sent so many people to you, and this was great that it worked out this way. I think this was Oscar's idea, wasn't it?
Yes, he was pretty adamant. That we do it this way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, my friend. That was wonderful. I'm kind of speechless right now because I think I'm still processing.
Yeah. He's showing that this is something that's going to keep. He's showing evolving the ideas and the symbols that came forward today will continue evolving.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Thank you so much. Everybody at Zen Lasagna on Instagram. And thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. And thanks to the tech ghosts that had that come out perfect. The sound was perfect when we got to this part. So that's awesome.
Amazing.
Right. Thank you, my friend. Everybody we'll see you next week.
Paranormal Karen. She's a spooky kind of queen. Paranormal Karen, she's an angel without wings. Comedian, ghost hunter, conscious exploring. She's a funny gal and a real woo pal. She's Paranormal Karen.